I've been wanting to do a follow-up video on Unity software, ticker symbol U, for weeks. However, there just hasn't been much data that suggests that either the bottom is in or that a rally is about to begin. But that does not mean that we might be seeing a bottoming signal here just above support. And so, hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so, like I said, we are looking at Unity software, ticker symbol U here, looking at the daily time frame. And right now, I just have the moving averages up here so we can take a look at those before diving into the levels and then diving into some unusual whales data. And so, looking at the chart over here, the thing that does stand out to me as being quite, exciting that we might have a bottom forming right over here is that, following this low from August 7th of 2024, that was a low of $13.90, and that was below all of these moving averages, and they were actually in order down there. We have the pink one, which is the 21-day moving average, then the yellow, the 50, and then up here in blue, the 200-day moving average. So they're in order progressively from shorter time frame to longer time frame. And then following that, we got a break above the pink and yellow, came back to retest those before getting rejected from the 200-day moving average, the blue, and then we pulled back below all of those levels before again rallying up, but then breaking above them. And then following pullbacks, we have seen continued breakdowns below those moving averages. But what we're seeing now that seems pretty encouraging to me is that we saw this progressive step down going below the 200-day moving average there. We are now back down, but we are above the 200-day moving average. So I feel like that suggests to me that that could be a bottoming signal, that there is a little bit of encouragement there, that we are putting in higher lows and that we really might start to rally. But, the unusual whales data just really doesn't suggest that big players are starting to step in. So, I don't think that there's really that much momentum to get this going. But anyways, if I do throw out my drawings, got kind of a bit of clutter up here. I am just, really proud of some of the levels that I have pointed out in the past as potentially being support. They ended up being support, so I'm just going to leave those up there. But I did just want to point out, as I had mentioned, we do see this white uptrending level here that has acted as support. And so here, going back to August, that is when that bottom was in. We came back to retest it in November, bounced from that level before getting a fake out break below it in February, and now we are back at that level. So just zooming in here and actually taking a step back real quick, we had hit this high on February 21st, high of $30.88, got rejected, barely kissing that white downtrend from up here. And let's see, take a big step back in the chart. That goes back to the highs that were hit in August of 2022. They were tested again in July of 23 and December of 2023 as well. And so that has been a very notable level of resistance. So it's really not too surprising that we did get rejected from right around that level. And then also we can see here that does correspond with this yellow line, which was these prior highs. And as we were getting to a higher high in the stock price, if we look at the RSI, that was actually a lower high. So on that date, which was February 21st, the RSI was 73.5, whereas over here, when getting to these highs, the RSI was 75.23. So higher high in the stock price, lower high in the RSI. That is bearish divergence. Although, what's kind of surprising about this is that we did see a bigger spike in volume. So that does make me think that, this would have continued higher Although that spike in volume was corresponding with this big green candle here, not the topping candle over there when we did start to put in that reversal. So, that is something to, keep in mind there. But then following this pullback and, looking at this orange Fibonacci retracement there, that does go from the low of February 12th, I feel like February 12th to February 21st, kind of interesting there with that high of $30.88. And from that retracement, we can see the 786 is at a price of $21.59. And we have been trading below that level. So, that's a little bit discouraging. I feel like, maybe it could be breaking down. Although, just like I talked about over here in November, we came back to that uptrend and bounced from it. Whereas over here in February, we came back to that uptrend, broke below it, faked people out, and then got a massive move to the upside. And so if we just look at that move, that represented, a move of almost 60% to the upside. So a very nice move there. But unfortunately, we didn't get this consolidation. I was hoping we'd form a bull flag there before moving higher. So I am going to delete that because that didn't happen. But what we do see over here is coming back to that uptrend, fake out break below that 786 maybe, and then also, as I had mentioned, that we are above that 200-day moving average, and following this pullback, we are back above it, whereas we were below it here. So I do think this is looking stronger in that sense. And then if we do consider, the volume from over here following this pullback, volume's been pretty, mellow. It's been pretty low. And so that suggests that the sellers there really aren't that many sellers here. We also closed the week Friday with a bullish engulfing candle. So I do think that is looking good. And if I do switch this over to the weekly, we can see that we've had, basically these 3 red weeks following that big green up candle there. But we could be forming a bottom here since we have kind of broken that trend of opening weeks higher than we closed them. Last week was the first week in the past 4 weeks where we opened lower and closed higher. So I think that's a good look. And then also the yellow line here, looking at the weekly time frame, that is going to be the 50-week moving average. And so it does look like we closed a couple weeks ago at that level. And then last week on the 21st, we closed the week, actually opening the week at that level and then closing above it. So that does make me think there could be a bottoming signal or a reversal signal here, somewhat like a falling 3 methods, or I should say rising 3 methods, where you have a big green candle here, 3 red candles coming down, and then a big one going up, a big green one. So that would be a rising 3 methods. Unfortunately, we only saw a small green candle, but maybe next week we start to see that and then, put in maybe a close next week above around 28. That would look awesome. And just going up from current price around 2150, that would look, of course, really good. But anyways, going back to the daily time frame over here, I did want to mention the MACD here at the bottom. Over here, when we saw the big moves up, it switched from red to green. And actually, the best time to buy was when it was still red over here before it switched to green. And what we're currently seeing is that it is red, but it does look like it is getting close to flipping green again soon. So maybe we do start to see that next week. And let's see, higher lows in the stock price, also with the RSI there, higher lows. So that does make me think, there's no bullish divergence there. So that would be nice to see if the RSI was lower than it was over here, and that could be suggesting that we would be getting some moves to the upside. But anyways, just going to bring my drawings back here because I did want to point out, before I point out the doodle over here, it's kind of cluttered. I'm actually going to clear up some of this old junk, or at least make it thinner. So not that thin. Let's see, I'm going to remove that little blue line there. So we got that retracement there, and then so just below that 786 acted as a, a bottoming signal over here. We did put in this gap. And so that gap was formed following the close from, February 12th, closed at a price of $19.44, and that gap has not yet been filled. And so I don't necessarily want to see that gap being filled, and I especially don't want to see price going lower than 1906, which was the low from February 12th. We want to be maintaining, putting in higher lows. And so hopefully we do see that continue. And I should note too, I do have a couple alerts here. I have one at 1950 that would effectively be corresponding with that gap fill. So I just want to be aware if that does get filled. And then also $23 here. I'm not sure if that is above or below. So that is above. If we start to get some price action above 23, that would be, getting between that 50-day and 21-day moving average there. And I think that could really be a signal that we are starting to break out and get higher. But then, taking a step back, we can see this doodle that I have here going up to this purple line that's around $45, $43.65 to be precise. And so my idea with that doodle is effectively that we're just putting in this inverse head and shoulders pattern here, and that we're really, just starting to form this massive inverse head. And so getting back up to that neckline would probably be around the time of the end of June, beginning of July, if it does follow my doodle here. And following that, getting up to around 43.65, then I think we could be seeing a pullback to come down to around $30 a share by, the end of the year here. It looks like the end of November before starting to head back up. And then if we do form this inverse head and shoulders pattern, that would suggest a measured move to, I believe, around $75. So a lot of upside here with this if you're looking at it long term. If you do want to be swinging this shorter term, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. It's quite possible this is a bear flag following the downside moves here and consolidation, but really the volume suggests to me that we just need a little bit of a kick and this will start to go up, especially very encouraging that we are holding above that 200-day moving average. But, on the shorter time frame, so longer time frame, I think this is, a very good, dip buying level. It has pulled back. So let's see, from the levels up here, it has pulled back 30%, if not more. And so, I just think it's a good discount here thinking long term. But if we're looking at it shorter term, what we want to see is some increases in net call premium. And we just haven't seen that yet. And so here, looking at the ticker symbol U chart over here, this is showing net call and put premium over the past 30 days. And so what we see is the stock price ran up here in yellow. We had a very massive spike in net call premium going over $10 million in net call premium on that day, which was February 20th. But following that, we saw the stock price come down in yellow. Maybe it's starting to, get back up there. So maybe there's some encouragement there. We just haven't seen big spikes in net call premium. Over here, we saw about 3.5 million. Over here, we saw about 2 2/3 million on, February 26th. But more recently, that net call premium in green, as well as the net put premium, we saw an increase in net put premium on Thursday, the 20th, and that went up by 1.5 million. So that's suggesting that, maybe there could be some bearish moves. But if we do look at this, and let's just look at this the past 3 days, we see that big spike in that net put premium in red there, but net call premium has been pretty flat. And, in all honesty, it's been negative most recently. And so what would be really nice is if we start to see increases in not net put premium, but increases in net call premium, going above $1 million, $2, $3, $4, $10 million. That would be great. That would be suggesting that bigger money is starting to go along on this. Although, if we do notice that the volume here is negative, that suggests that this increase in net put premium is actually corresponding with selling, which is actually a bullish bet. So this $1.54 million increase in net put premium, that is selling put. So that does suggest that this could be a bottoming signal. Had to throw that in here. But looking at just the 1 day from March 21st, we can see that the stock price did go higher over the course of the day, which we can see here with that nice green candle there. But we saw net call and put premium both coming down over the course of the day. But one thing that's a little bit good is that the net call premium didn't go down as much as the net put premium. So that does suggest that people are offloading more puts than they are offloading calls. So maybe the bottom is near. We just don't have that catalyst to get it moving yet to the upside. Just looking here at the bear to bull slider, does look like 43%, which is the majority, considering the neutral majority on the bullish side there for Friday. But, coming back to the chart here, and just considering these higher lows progressively going higher, considering those moving averages, I think that this could be getting ready to take off of that 200-day moving average, but maybe we need to see a little bit of a drawdown more. Who knows? Maybe we take out that low of 1906, sweep the lows. Anybody who's got stop losses there or anything like that, they lose conviction if we go below 1906, or maybe if we cross below 19. And then those people get out of their positions because they think it's breaking down, going back to 13 or 14. But then we get a catalyst, a big move, and this really starts to take off. And so, overall, long term, I think that this is going to be potentially in 2026 up to around, $100 a share. And that's largely based on this inverse head and shoulders that I think that we're going to be forming. But it's just going to take some time. It's going to take some patience. And I like the stock. And I think that what we're seeing now, around $22, $21, I think those are some nice discounts that we'll be happy we pick some shares at a year from now. Shorter term, though, I don't know, it could be breaking down, so be cautious about that. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.